Thank you. Tonight on the show, I'll be speaking to the spokesman or the public relations officer of the Gambia Armed Forces, Captain Malik Sanyang. He will speak to me today exclusively on the situation there in Foni and the efforts that the military is taking to ensuring citizens in Foni are safe. Cap, thank you for joining me on my show tonight.
Thank you for having me, Lamin.
So,
pleasure to be here.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you taking your time to come to our studios. Let's begin with the recent patrol that saw the military bring reporters with them to patrol the border, but also to provide the members of the media exclusive, at least, understanding of how the situation is obtaining there in Foni.
Yes, first of all, I would like to state that it was important in our view to create such a travel together with media persons to be able to go to the borderline and then see for themselves firsthand the situation that is currently as it is. We've received a lot of requests during that time following a pressure that we made, like a media advisory sort of, to be able to go and then assess for themselves what was happening. But then the situation was not tenable, and due to a high risk to their safety, it was decided by the Armed Forces Command that it was important to take time and then assess the situation properly to make sure that in as much as we would provide them the necessary protection, but their lives are not unnecessarily endangered. So that is exactly what informed our trip to the Fonis on the 23rd of this month.
So how is the situation looking like in Foni? A staggering 13,000 people displaced by the Casamance conflict. How is the situation looking there in Foni?
The situation at the moment in the Fonis, it is safe to say that yes, IDPs quite naturally, when conflict befalls any part of this world, and which the Casamance conflict is no exception to, you would have IDPs all over, internally displaced persons, and it's worrying. It's a concern. We would have wished not to see it, but this is what obtains elsewhere too. But from learning, using our experience in the Darfur situations and our deployments elsewhere, we know exactly how to deal with them, and hence the constant patrol along the borderline to make sure that confidence building is enhanced. And you will be amazed to understand that it's not only those IDPs coming from the other side of the border, refugees per se, but also within the territory, the IDPs, like if you move out of your village and then you have your animals there, and no one to tend to them. You can imagine in terms of feeding, in terms of drinking, who would do that? You'd be amazed to find out that members of the patrol teams were embarked on such activities, making sure that they take care of the animals that they would find in villages, unattended. To be able to guide them, to feed them, and then also to guide them to safe drinking spots, and also to provide protection for those who would go to harvest their cashew nuts, because we are in that season also, to make sure that the economic loss is not that much felt. But also kudos to the Red Cross as well, and then the UNDP as well, because during the tour we had the chance to see some of those tents and mattresses that are provided by the UNDP, and also you will hear of the assistance the Red Cross has been rendering to some of these people, and these were first-hand testimonies that we could hear from the villagers.
So in terms of the fighting between the rebels in Casamance and the Senegalese soldiers, what we have seen is that shells landed in Gambia. What are the safeguards? What safeguards are there by the Gambian military to ensuring that when these people are fighting, it doesn't come to Gambia, it doesn't enter Gambia?
Yes, on the 28th of January, the Gambia Armed Forces High Command, under the Director of the Chief of Defense Staff, made a quick deployment to those, bearing in mind that that area falls under the area of responsibility of the 4th Infantry Battalion. But due to the seriousness of the conflict by nature, it was deemed necessary that it's better the borderline is revamped The Operation Eagle Eye was put into to wider use, as well as those at Tiger Watch, and also a QRF was deployed. All that was geared towards sealing the Gambian border from the Fonyi belt, starting from Kalaji all the way to Bullock. And that was to ensure that there is no infiltration from unscrupulous persons from the other side of the border, and also taking cognizance of the fact that there is that ECOWAS protocol, on proliferation of small arms and light weapons, arms and ammunition in our context, to make sure that that is also seriously looked into and regulated. And this is what they have been doing, and these are some of the safeguards that we are taking. Yes, shells landed, on Gambian territory. And what happened immediately these informations were verified, the Chief of Defense Staff wasted no time in calling his counterpart on the Senegalese side to also keep him alive to the situations on our side of the border. And as soon as that was done, we saw the cessation of the cells landing, and we were assured that these were not deliberate, but owing to the porous nature of the border. Some of these things are sometimes due to human error, sometimes it's due to just the distance between their side of launch and, of course, our side of the border. The border is too porous. So these explanations were advanced, and then they were found to be, things that are possible. But then we saw a sharp drop in the amount of shells that were landing on our part of the border. And then, by and large, I think the QRFs were able to rise up to the occasion and then do what was expected of them in making sure that the territorial integrity of the Gambia, was maintained and is still, being maintained.
So this patrol that you do at the border, is this constant, or you do it
yes
at various periods?
Yes, this is constantly done, and that is why they are there. Recently, you would see a fleet of vehicles also, being rolled out to those at Operation Eagle Eye, and also those at those QRFs that are there. Right now, QRF 1, of course, is being replaced by QRF 3. But this is what is done. It's constant. It's non-stop, long-range, patrols.
How many men are involved?
Well, for security purposes, I would not be at liberty to, get into specifics. But it's a significant amount of men that are involved in these routine patrols. Geared towards confidence building, geared towards, surveillance operations, geared towards making sure that that side of the border is definitely safe enough to have Gambians return. And then, amazingly enough, as we went, through those villages with the press, they were able to see firsthand that at least close to 80 to 90% of those residents around that end have started, returning, and life has started, coming back to normalcy.
So, have you come across incidents where you have your men arrest people that are trying to enter Gambia, people that you suspect might be rebels, for example?
The interesting thing is because of the robust nature of the patrols, information is travels very fast. Due to the robust nature of our patrols, it was clear to everybody that if you are the belligerent and then you are not by law allowed to access Gambia with arms and ammunition, obviously they would stay away. And luckily for us, I guess that is one of the explanations why we've not been able to effect any arrests, because we've not seen first-hand incursions into our side of the territory.
So one thing also that has also caused a lot of issues in Foni, a lot of uncertainty in Foni, is the foreign troops that are stationed in Foni. I know the Gambian military has nothing to do with this, but you have foreign troops there. In terms of the people, when you engage them, you have been going to them, helping them in terms of their cattle, in terms of their livestock. What are they telling you when it comes to their relations with the foreign troops in Foni?
Well, to be quite honest, our main focus has always been how do we alleviate some of the sufferings that they are going through, and then attending to their immediate security needs. So it would have been ideal to ask those kind of questions if time permit, but you would understand, they are under a dire situation, and then they have been our troops have been sent there for a specific task. I don't know if you have had the chance to see them dressed up completely, or seeing them in their vehicle moving. You will know that these are not people that have time for chit chats and certain discussions, but I'm sure over the period also we've seen certain civil authorities around that, and we saw distribution of rice by, I think, was it the Become Area Council or something. So I guess these are some of the people and some of the agencies that have been there that may have, the opportunity to be able to hear, from them some of the concerns at that level, at that civil level that they may have.
So let's also, away from Fonyi, let's also talk about other security matters. Let's talk about the entire country in general. Your role is to defend the territorial integrity of the country. I mean, since 2017 to now, there's been kind of a shift, if you like, in terms of how the military operates or goes about defending the territorial integrity of the Gambia. Would you say the army has the capacity and the capability to do this job?
The capability, there is no question about that. We have officers trained within the Gambia and outside, the Gambia over the years to different places. The militaries that we look up to, so to speak, would be those of the United States of America, those of the UKs, and so forth. And we have Gambian officers, gone to all these places, and even, some of our NCOs. So the issue of having the capabilities, the know-how, those ones, are questions even a layman can definitely speak to. But what is important is resources can never be enough, especially for operations of this magnitude that were never, foreseen to have happened. But that is the nature of security. It is fluid. However, kudos to the government. They've really given the armed forces a good listening ear in terms of our needs when it comes to logistics, to be able to carry out some of these functions, so to speak. And I just mentioned to you that not long ago a fleet of vehicles were handed over as an additional support package to ensuring that these patrols are taken on board. And I think this is what is required. The armed forces would do whatever that it is supposed to do, mandated wise, as per the constitution. And whenever the civil authority empowers us and give us the necessary wherewithal, we would have no other choice but the only choice to be able to serve the Gambian people to the best of our ability.
In fact, I was also going in terms of the discipline. I wanted to come there. How disciplined is the Gambian armed forces? How loyal are you to the Commander-in-Chief, President Adama Barrow?
Well, I mean, to answer that question is simple. The Gambian forces, we have a strict chain of command. From that section level to that platoon level to that company level. Let me just break it down this way. The tactical level is subservient to the operational level, and the operational level is also subservient to the strategic level. And these are the realities that are there. There is no two way about it. There is only one way. And that is complete loyalty and complete obedience to command. And this is what the Gambian forces has been known for also over the years. And looking at our track record in the Darfurs, in the Liberias, in the Guinea-Bissau's, you would really concur with me that the Gambian forces has a good footing when it comes to discipline, and hence the preparation of these QRFs for eventual launching into any of the UN mission areas. I mean, we would not even be there for consideration if those were really issues that the Gambian forces would have had. We've traveled a long way. We've seen from 2017 up to date. You've seen the transformation. And just to tell you how disciplined the armed forces is our approach with the media and our relation with the media. Over the years, we've been accused that to have a closed door policy, sort of, which was not the case, but that is how it was perceived. But there was this declaration by the Chief of Defense Staff, a statement issued by him that henceforth, well, this is what they say, but I'm going to give directives that we're going to have an open door policy. And then you saw the recent traveling with the massive amount of journalists to the Fonyis at the armed forces' own expense, to be able to allow our citizenry their right to be able to go around and then see freely for themselves, ask their fellow citizens about their plight, to be able to carry on their responsibilities speaks volume.
So let me also ask you about, you have some citizens, some civilians who are always saying that economic needs to live. That is this report that, in fact, Nigeria is going to send more than 100 troops to the Gambia as part of their mission in the country. You have citizens who want them to leave our country. What is the feeling in the military?
The feeling in the military is that whatever command, brings down on us as an order, we trust in their wisdom. Sometimes they are privy to what we are not privy to. If you are in a compound and then you have a compound head, and then the compound head, gives a directive, and you are just a child being taken care of, I mean, it doesn't flow. It doesn't flow. So the military, as it is known, is to trust in the wisdom of command, and this is what we continue to do. And this is the feeling of the officers and men of the Gambia Armed Forces. Ordinary citizens may have, their entitlements to their opinions. This is a democratic space, but our ear is given to the command always. And that is what matters to us.
Okay, let me also ask you about your men, the Gambian members of the force, service members, have been going to Turkey for training. Your men have been receiving a lot of training in their hundreds. I know they all go to Turkey for these trainings, and you are talking about this quick reaction force. What is it all about?
The quick reaction force is, we all understand that the mission in Darfur actually came to a halt for the military contingents, and the Gambia Armed Forces High Command deemed it necessary to make sure that other areas are exploited, to make sure that our people also go out there to contribute their quota, because as part of the CDS's vision, it's not only protecting the territorial integrity of the country, but also to make sure that we contribute meaningfully to global peace and stability through the auspices of the UN and other regional bodies. And based on that reality, it was deemed fit that there should be another preparation to make sure that our men still continue to fulfill that task, which is also important to the country, because there is an economic component, not only to the soldier as remuneration, but also to it brings in a lot of hard currency into the country. So these are areas that the armed forces will not sit idly by and then allow it to slip away. We owe this country a responsibility, and that is what we intend to carry out. And that is why the QRFs, have been babied by the Chief of Defense Staff to make sure that they get all the required training that they are supposed to get, and then also find themselves launched into any of the possible UN missions sooner rather than later.
So let me also ask you about, I know last year the Commander-in-Chief, President Adama Barrow, triggered or unleashed the National Guard. It was put on standby, and in fact the National Guard was complementing the police in terms of internal security. How is that going? Is that force still active?
Yes, Operation Restore Sanity is still alive. They are still at their headquarters at where they are headquartered. I would not want to say
where are they headquartered?
I would not want to get into those
those
specifications, yes, but specifics. But actually, it is alive. Operation Restore Sanity. All those operations that you've had before have been alive, except Dalal Hell, which has not yet phased out completely, because bear in mind there is also another election cycle that is coming. So Operation Dalal Hell was launched to make sure that elections are carried out peacefully, in conjunction with the police and other relevant stakeholders. But other operationally mandated code names that is known to everybody. These are operations that are still alive and are ongoing. And then I think the purpose for which all these operations were also carved out could be felt. I think we are better off now than where we were during those times.
Let me also ask you about one thing before we leave. I know you are a very busy man. The man that was dismissed from the force, he was acquitted and discharged by the court, Omar Sajo. How is this still his case? Is the army still working on that case?
I wish I were given a heads up before coming here. I would have consulted our legal department to know exactly where that stands. At some point, I understand that just like you rightly stated, that's what happened. But the further steps that the armed forces would have taken, either way, would have been advised by our legal luminaries. We have a whole department of legal luminaries. And then if I were informed earlier before coming on the show, I could have actually faced them and then understand exactly what that situation is about right now. But perhaps next time when we meet, I should be able to shed more light on Omar Sajo's case.
Cap, thank you for joining me tonight on the show. We've come to the end of this interview, but thank you for coming on the show tonight.
You're welcome. And also just wanted to say that we want to thank the Turkish government for what they are doing.
Yes.
They've shown really that we are brothers, and this is really very, very important. And the ties between the two armed forces have always been, growing from strength to strength.
Cap, thank you once more. Thank you very much. Captain Malik Sanyang was my guest for tonight, the spokesman of the military. I will see you on Wednesday. It is Eid, so happy Eid, Eidul Mubarak, Eidul Fitri Mubarak to you all. I will see you on Wednesday. Until then, goodbye. Good evening. My name is Lemon Jai, and this is The Nation Today. Thank you for joining me on the show tonight. Tonight, I'll be speaking to the spokesman of the Gambia Armed Forces, Captain Malik Sanyang. We will be discussing the phony situation, but also how loyal is the Gambian military to their Commander-in-Chief, President Adama Barrow. Also tonight, Insurance Companies Association is blasting back at the Gambia Transport Union president, who said the insurance companies in this country are scammers. Also, Kasu Trade gains momentum. Abubakari Jawara Charity Foundation briefs journalists. We also have high cost of flour threatening to send bakers out of business. These and more. But first, now, tonight I'll be speaking on the issue of the $669 million that opposition critics are claiming went missing. Well, we have seen the State House issue a clarification, but also yesterday the Secretary General and Head of the Civil Service, Mr. Noah Toure, providing further clarification. So I'll be speaking on that tonight. That will be my take for tonight. The Secretary General and Head of the Civil Service, Noah Toure, has set the record straight regarding the $669 million of critics allege is either stolen or misappropriated by the Barrow government. The issue of the Office of the President operating a special account from the main government account has been a subject of much talk. Opposition critics have been accusing President Adam Barrow of misusing the entire sum, even as State House said the money was an expenditure of the previous government. The Secretary General and Head of the Civil Service has now provided further clarification on the issue. Noah Toure told GR3S, and I quote, "The amount in question comes from two separate accounts. They call the Special Security account at the Office of the President. One of the accounts was opened during the Jammeh era in 2012. And when it was opened, monies were paid into the account and it was being used." He continued to say, when the account was closed, the balance in the account, which was $1.4 million, was transferred into a newly opened account, also a security account, but the numbers are different. So this $1.4 million was used as an opening balance for the new account. So out of the $669 million, only $35.8 million was spent by the current government. The rest was spent by the previous administration. That is, the rest of the $669 million was spent by the previous government. I think this clarification is good enough for anyone who is interested in knowing the truth, but also the facts. That will be it for my take tonight. We'll take a short break and we'll be right back. Welcome back. So let's get into current affairs, as the Insurance Association of the Gambia yesterday slammed the president of the Gambia Transport Union, Omar Cisse, for calling the insurance companies or businesses in the Gambia as scammers. During the press conference held by the Insurance Association of the Gambia, Makare Bajan told journalists that Mr. Cisse's statements demonstrates his ignorance of insurance company operations, as well as an attempt to mislead the public about the genuine purpose of insurance. More in this report.
The core mandate of insurance companies is to provide compensation or indemnity to its policyholders in the event of a loss caused by a risk which the policyholder has insured against, or to compensate third parties and victims of road accidents when the policyholders are injured to be liable for such accidents. However, the Gambia Transport Union's president Omar Cisse labeled the insurance companies in the Gambia as scammers, but his statement triggered the insurance entities in the Gambia to hold a press briefing aimed at clarifying their roles and responsibilities to the general public. The president of the Gambia Insurance Associations of the Gambia, Makare Bajan, has strongly condemned the claims made by the GPTU president, strongly condemns the claims made by the Gambia Transport Union's president, adding that Mr. Cisse intends to misinform the public.
The executive of the Insurance Association of the Gambia, the IAG, deemed it very fitting to hold this press conference today, Thursday, the 28th of April, 2022, in order to safeguard the highly reputable image of our industry. We are all aware that of recent, we have unfortunately seen officials of the Gambia General Transport Union on media, social media, print, TV, actually calling the insurance industry names.
The chairman of the National ECOWAS Brown Card, Dauda Sarge, said insurance companies are governed by laws, adding that the available laws have been in existence since 1948. Mr. Sarge called for the amendment of the Vehicle Insurance Act.
I think it's important that some of these things are made into the forefront of the public to see, so that it can be better appreciated. Yes, some of these things that have happened, for me, I think there are legitimate concerns that can be raised. Criticism are accepted. Concerns you can welcome. But it's about the issues of invectives, labeling, and stuff like that which we feel is unacceptable. So we needed to hold this particular forum and try to clear the air, try to remove the ambiguities from such pronouncements, and try to make sure that going forward, we all try to engage constructively. It doesn't help anybody, individual or institution, to cast aspersions such as other.
The Insurance Association of the Gambia is expected to create awareness about its roles and responsibilities, noting that the Insurance Association is concerned with the current increase in road accidents in the country. For Star TV, I am Modu Elbaji.
Now, after transferring his Kasu business from Guinea-Bissau to the Gambia 3 years ago, Star TV visited the Chief Executive Officer of Munduk Training to check the gains but also the challenges of his company since moving to the Gambia.
Kasu season has over the years created employment opportunities for young people in the country, as those involved in its trade require laborers to facilitate its processing and storage. However, the CEO of Munduk Trading, Alhaji Baro, explained the challenges of Kasu trading.
Yes, I could say the export trade that we have been experienced from Senegal to Gambia, which I will seize this opportunity to talk to the Minister of Trade to engage his counterpart in Senegal to make sure that let's try to go and look at the ECOWAS protocol, because Senegal also have blocked the border. They are also not to enter in Gambia for the last 3-4 years. So, which I don't think it doesn't tell well based on the ECOWAS protocol. So people have to get free movement of the ECOWAS citizens with their goods. Not even ECOWAS, but Africa in general. To make Africa to move forward, I think some of those barriers should be taken out. If you look at the Europe today, if you say EU, those are the things that they ignore. So EU citizens have right to leave Germany and go to Holland and stay there and do business and work.
The Munduk boss revealed that the COVID-19 has cast its shadow on the cashew trade in the past 2 years. He expressed optimism that this year's season will be different. Barrow called on the government to support cashew dealers with a processing machine.
The COVID-19, I couldn't say it's eliminated, but people now consider it is within us. So it should not stop us and to do our activities. I mean, 2 years back, of course, we have a lot of problems that caused by the COVID-19, but thanks God now, people are at least used to it now, I could say, and they're ready to cope with it, but do their daily activities or our normal activities also, inshallah. So hopefully, this season will be better than last year, definitely.
As CEO, did you have any future plans?
Munduk Trading has agents in various parts of the country where one can sell his cashew nuts at a reasonable price. However, cashew nuts can lower the risk of cardiovascular diseases. This may occur by reducing blood pressure and bad cholesterol level because the nuts are said to be naturally cholesterol free and contain good amount of heart healthy fats such as fiber and protein. For Star TV, I am Modu Elbaji.